appeared unto their enemies, what from heaven?
5 comely men.
5 comely men. It's beautiful. Go ahead.
Upon horses with riddles of gold.
So they come in style, you know?
And 2 of them led the Jews and took Nicodemus betwixt them.
So then it's a war going on, and these angels kind of came down in these horses. They fly, they fresh. You know all hell about to break loose. So let's read what happens next.
And covered him on every side.
Imagine you're in war, you got the angels literally next to you, covering you on every side. When you read these things, this is how to give you hope and faith that there's angels around you even unto this day. You know?
With the weapons and kept him safe.
See, they kept him safe. Ain't no angels gonna be around the so-called white man, right? That wear piston jackets.
What?
You know? Bring it up.
But shot arrows and lightning against the enemies.
You know that's what it is. Some high-grade, high-tech military missiles or military weapons. And those are the only terms that we can use, right? Military weapons in warfare. Of course, they had something beyond our understanding. You know, they just came from the sky. Go ahead.
So that being confounded with blindness and full of trouble, they were killed. And there was slain of foot 20,500.
20,000 people. That's a lot of people put to death, man. That's a lot of graves. So our forefathers, they was mighty men. You know, they wasn't feeble, they wasn't weak. Like the scriptures say, you know, it wasn't a reed shaking in the wind. We was doing mighty acts. Bring out Genesis 14:14. And the reason why we're going over this, if you pan the camera, you see the word army over there. Righteous graffiti. So now we're going into the armies and a mighty man of Israel. All right? Bring out Acts 10th chapter in the first verse.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 14 and verse 14. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive,
Right, his brother Lot was taken captive. Go ahead.
he armed his trained servants.
What?
He armed his trained servants.
He armed his trained servants. Who trained those people? Abraham. Right? Because again, he wasn't an old man. Right? And he was mighty. He was strong. He could, you know, throw some fists. After all, the Lord said this. Hold that. Go to Psalms 144:1. Right? A precept must be upon precept when you read the scriptures. That's the only way you can properly understand and break it down. You have to go precept upon precept.
Right?
All right, bring it up.
Psalms 144 and verse 1. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teacheth my hands to war.
To cook.
Which teacheth my hands to war.
What?
To war.
See, Most High taught our fingers to fight and our hands to war. That's mighty. After all, the Lord is the man of war in Exodus 15:3. Hold that, go to Sirach 27.
He armed his trained servants, born in his own house.
Born in his own house. So you know they had some type of military drills and you know, tactics that they was practicing. You know, Abraham was a wise man. He knew war. You know, he knew about the vineyards. He knew a lot of things. Go ahead.
318 and pursued them unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them and pursued them unto Habad, which is on the left hand of the mountain.
Hey, come here, brother. Come here. Come here. Learn about your nationality. Right? Huh? You know your nationality? What is it?
I never had a color.
You never had one.
I just want to stop right there because I'm.
Oh, come here. I can't hear you. Come closer. I can't hear you.
I love y'all. I love what y'all doing, but I'm gay.
What are we doing?
That's what I see.
Come here real quick.
I
Come
gotta
here.
keep going because I got.
Where you gotta go?
somebody waiting on me.
Where you gotta go? That's so important.
I got a lady. Wife is waiting out here.
You got a lady. Hey, the lady's right here. Right? The lady, the woman that you should be messing with is right here, brother. And she can show you a lot of things. She can show you more things than the lady that she's about to meet up with.
I understand that. Just keep me in prayer.
All right, hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Drop that. Go to Sirach 6. So to verse 11. See? A lot of Jake, they pull away their shoulder and they stop their ears from hearing the word. That's all right. That's all right. We're going to finish with the lesson. All right? Let the blood be, off of us, like the scripture said. So what was you about to get? Okay, Khan. Acts 10 and 1.
Acts 10 and verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion.
What?
A centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Even Cornelius, and he was in the army, and he was a general. He was a mighty man. He knew certain war strategies. He was better than Colin Powell, He was better than all these damn war generals that they got today, with them 5 stars, and that hat, that green hat, looking like that dude from that insurance commercial. I can't remember, but bring out Revelation, Insurance General, Yeah, see that? Bring out Revelation 14 and 12. So the Most High is a man of war. You can read a lot of accounts about armies and valiant, mighty men with swords and weapons and bucklers. See?
Revelation 14 and verse 12.
Yep.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahweh. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Right, blessed are the dead which died in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, say the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. Upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man.
It's not a nimbus cloud like Kakarot had. It's not a nimbus cloud. It's not a, I don't know all the clouds, but just know it wasn't the cloud that you see right there. Right? That was a mighty chariot. All right? And the Lord sat upon him,
having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle, and another angel.
It's like, what do you do with a sickle? What is that instrument used for? Thrust, right? To take down, to destroy. Go ahead.
And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come.
Hey, come here real quick. You got a minute for the Bible? Hey, in a cold, so. See that? Hey, fish, we need a fisherman. Fish.
For the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe.
Right? The harvest of the earth is ripe. In other words, on another level, Esau did all the sins that he needed to do. Now the Lord's going to come back and raise hell. Go ahead.
And he that sat on the cloud was in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth.
So it's going to be a massive slaughter and a massive deliverance at the same time. All right, what you got? Let me see if you're going to the right track. Start on verse 51.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 12 and verse 51. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth.
Right? The Lord didn't say, I'm coming back, we're going to have a contract, we're going to work things out, you'll free my people, go back to Israel. The Lord didn't say all of that. Right? He's not coming back on earth to send peace.
I tell you, nay, but rather the vision. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3.
Hold that. Go to John 3:16. Right? These Christians got a lot of explaining to do, man. You got a lot of explaining to do. Right?
John 3 and verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son.
Right?
that whosoever believeth in him should not perish.
Hold up. So you see, at one point, you know, the Lord say, look, you know, I'm gonna give my son, you know, for the whole world, etc. Right? But why is it in Luke? He said, I'm not on earth to send peace. You know, I'm not coming on earth to send peace. So which is it? Is the Lord contradicting himself? No. You got to keep things in its proper context. This is a dialogue, a conversation between Yahushua and Nicodemus, right? And he's speaking to the world of the Jews. Bring out John 18 and 20. Let's go precept upon precept. As I mentioned before, this is the only way that you can properly understand the Bible. There's no other way.
John 18 and verse 1. Yahushua answered him. Oh, this 18 and 20. God, John 18 and verse 20. Yahushua answered him. I spake open to the world.
Close the book, because that's what the Christians are saying. Close the book, he spoke openly to the world. So let's keep reading.
I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple.
See that? In the synagogue and in the temples. Who dwelt there? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, for the most part, right? You'll find us being in the temples and the synagogues. How do we know? Hold that. Go to Acts 17 and 1. Acts chapter 17, verse 1. Now remember, Paul was a follower of Yahushua. So guess what he was doing? He was doing the same thing. You know? And what are we doing? We're going to be doing the same thing that our forefathers was. Right?
Acts 17 and verse 1. Now when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews.
A what?
A synagogue of the Jews.
A synagogue of the Jews. You see that? Go ahead.
And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them.
Right? Even on the Sabbath days, right? He was speaking to them. Go ahead.
Out of the scriptures. Open.
No, out of his heart.
Out of the scriptures.
Out of his mind.
Out of the scriptures.
So he went out the scriptures. All right? Go ahead.
Open and alleged that Hamashiach must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead.
And so he went out of the scriptures, and keep this in mind. He wasn't reading out the book of Luke, you know, reading out the book of Matthew. He was going to the book of Isaiah and Nehemiah and the book of the prophets to prove that Yahushua is in there, right? And he came to fulfill the things that were written in the prophets. So that's another precept of Paul, you know, using the scriptures. You know your nationality? Black. Ain't that the color of your boots? Yeah, how are you black? You black? When you look at your hand, you take off your glove, you look at your hand, it's the same color as your boots. Are you black or different shades of brown? Huh? Are you a shade of brown, right? When you look at us, we're not the color of this brother's boots, right? Because you see a brother a little light skin, you know, you see a brother a little charcoal, you see brother a little, you know, in the middle, you know? So, the East Indian man, he has a nationality, right? He has his own language. They speak Punjabi over there. You know, they have their own culture. They got curry. They got all these feasts and days and holy days, so-called. You know, they eat goats. You got the Chinese man. He has his culture. He has his traditions. What about yours? Who are you? You yourself. Does the white man ever say he's myself or he's himself? Or does he actually say, hey, you know, I can trace my roots back to England. I can trace my roots back to Switzerland or Russia, you know, or Spain. The Asian man can say, yo, I'm from this part of Asia. This is my province. This is the language that I speak. I speak Cantonese, right? And even with the Japanese man, every nation on earth, they can trace their lineage except for us. We're the only people on earth that say, I'm just me. I'm living and I'm chilling. We have to find out who we are. You should want to know who you are, right? Because you know they lied to us in the school system, right? You like being lied to? So why you find out the truth? Don't you want to find out the truth? All right, let's find out about the truth. All right, bring out Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Now this Bible, this is your history book. This is the true history book. All right? Forget all those other history books that you read in school. Forget all of that. Right to make war, all them, social class, social studies classes. Forget all of that. Right? Throw that out your mind and check this out.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Into where?
Into Egypt again.
Into Egypt again. You see that? So who is speaking? This is Moses speaking to the Israelites, saying you're going to go into Egypt again. But if you're familiar with the Bible, you know that they already left Egypt, right? You heard about Moses parting the sea, him and brothers. Ring a bell? Okay, so you got that understanding. They left Egypt. This is after the fact, right? He said he's going to go into Egypt again. However, there's no account in the scriptures where Israel went back into Egypt, right? By foot, right? Parting the sea. So we have to break down the word Egypt to get a better understanding.
Exodus 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Right, so that's what Egypt means, right? The house of bondage. What's another word for bondage? What's another word for bondage, sister? Verse 4. Another word for bondage. Slavery. Captivity. All right, we got a precept.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 11 and verse 4, which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt from the iron furnace.
See, the iron furnace, right? That's another way of saying, look, that's captivity, that's slavery, right? That's where you're going through all hell. Because what happens in a furnace? Fire, you're being afflicted.
Right.
All right?
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So Moses is telling the Israelites, saying, look, you're going to go into Egypt again, right? But how are you going to get there?
With ships.
You're going to get there by way of ships. Now we have to pause and ask ourselves, how did my ancestors make it here to America? How did we land on Plymouth Rock? What mode of transportation did we take? Did we take that green dot? Did our people take a bus here? Did they take an airplane? How did they get here? No, your ancestors. How did they get here to America? Huh? Cars. No, how did they get from the East Coast of Africa to America? Your ancestors? When I say your ancestors, I mean during the days of slavery. They took a boat. If you're familiar with the the transatlantic slave trade, they took a boat, right? So that's how your ancestors made it here to America.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
The Lord will bring you into a house of bondage or an iron furnace again. But how?
With ships.
Right? It's the fact that your ancestors, my ancestors, they came here by boat. Right? Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Have you seen your homeland, sister? None. Right? Raise your hand if you see your homeland. Nobody. Right? We didn't see your homeland. Oh, ask a Chinese man if he's seen his homeland. He tells you 9 times out of 10, he'll say yeah. Right? Even with an East Indian man or a Japanese man. Right? Or an Ethiopian. Go ahead.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemy.
And there in that iron furnaces in this house of bondage, you're going to be sold into your enemies. Which people sold us left and right on the auction block? Which man did it? Was it the green man? The yellow man? Who did it? Be real. Which man put us into slavery? Come on, sister. You got this. If you just see this picture right there, what does he look like? Don't look like a white man? That's a so-called white man, right? He put our people into slavery. It's lucky.
For buy men and buy women, and no man shall buy you.
And no man shall redeem you out that captivity. What's your name? Huh? Jasmine? Jasmine, you an Israelite. You gotta repent and keep the commandments, right? Your heritage is found in the scriptures, right? If you want to know more about your heritage, we got a flyer. But if you really want to know, like, you know, the depths of it, you gotta read the scriptures, right? You gotta open Deuteronomy 28th chapter. You gotta open up Jeremiah, right? You gotta read about your foremothers and your forefathers and how righteous they were. Because we live in a lifestyle that's not really righteous, right? When we don't know better and we don't